Very good evening to each and every one of you from Sri Lanka, or if you're joining from any other country, again, whatever the time, we welcome all of you warmly to the webinar, which has been organized by Kensley Graduate School with the support of ATHE UK, especially focusing on the future of artificial intelligence. Now, I'm sure, as we all know, artificial intelligence has become the buzzword, I would say, but it's very important to understand this special field of study because as we can understand, the continuous evolution of AI technologies definitely fosters innovation, empowering industries to enhance the efficiency, decision making, and of course, the overall human experience. So the purpose of doing this webinar is for you to give you, to give an overview about the special field of study. And also, if anyone is interested in pursuing an academic qualification, something worldwide recognized, of course, that's something that we are going to focus on today to give you some sort of academic guidance. And also we have a technical session also in line to for you to give you an understanding about how the artificial intelligence can impact on our lives and what sort of areas you can get on with for your future, I would say, for the improvements. So without further ado, and it's really nice to see such a great crowd in the audience. We are so enthusiastic. And we have another enthusiastic person who is joining all the way from UK today to deliver the first session. So he is the Chief Executive Officer of ATHE UK. So he has been enthusiastic about this session, I think more than us. So glad to have you in the platform, Alex. And I'm sure you're going to give you a very interesting understanding for all those here join. So without further ado, let me invite Alex Burks, the Chief Executive Officer of ATHE, to address the audience and, of course, give your, straight away give your wisdom, I would say. Over to you, Alex.
Thank you very much indeed, and good morning from the UK. It's wonderful to see so many of you joining the webinar. Thank you so much to Kensley Graduate School for the opportunity to talk to you. I'm Chief Executive at ATHE, and I'm joined by my colleague Denise Weir, who's my Deputy Chief Executive and our Head of Business Development. And so I'm going to spend 5 or 10 minutes just talking to you a little bit about ATHE, so I can set the context about our organization, what we do, and particularly then to focus in on our qualifications. And obviously the subject of today, our AI-related qualification that we're delighted that Kensley will be delivering. We'll be spending, as I say, some time listening to one of our experts, one of our competing experts, Rune Rasmussen, who'll be presenting a video talk on AI and what it means both technically, but also in the wider communities. And so on that basis, I'd just like to share screen, and I'm hoping the technology works, particularly for a technology-related webinar. I'm going to do that now and just run through some slides. So I'm hoping that that is coming up for you, and I'm seeing hopefully a nodding of heads. And so that's working. So I'm going to run through the slideshow and just talk a little bit about ATHE, what we do, and why we feel it's important to share this with you in terms of context. So I'm talking to you from Norwich, which is in the east of England. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the United Kingdom's geography, you can see that we're towards the east coast of England, about an hour and 45 train ride from London. That's where our head office is based. A little bit about Norwich, just as a scene setter, for those of you who follow football. Norwich has a fleeting relationship with the Premier League in the UK. We have our own team, the Canaries, Norwich City Football Club, and so we're very proud of them, particularly when they get into the Premiership, where they're not at the moment. But yeah, we have ambition for them. For those of you who follow sports cars, Norwich is the home of Lotus Sports Cars, and so we're also very proud of our connection with Lotus over many years as a sports car manufacturer. You can see an overview of the city there. We have a cathedral. And Norwich is also famous for having 365 pubs. So you can go into a different pub for every day of the year. We also have 52 churches, so you can repent every weekend for your sins. And that's one of our claims to fame. We also manufacture kettle chips. So kettle chips are spread around the world, and I don't know if they made it to Sri Lanka yet, but if they do, I can recommend them highly. We also have some celebrities from Norwich. We have Olivia Colman, who is from Norwich. She's an Oscar-winning actress. And also some of you may know Stephen Fry, who's an actor and comedian, very famous in the UK and also spread globally. So we have a little bit of a few claims to fame for Norwich, but that sort of puts us on the map. In terms of ATHE, as my background suggests, that's our head office, Rosebery Court. So we're very pleased to have our head office in Norwich. We also have offices in London and satellite offices in other parts of the world. But that's where we're based. We share our head office with the UK government. And so they're very good neighbours within the building. And as a government regulated organisation, that's a real benefit for us. And so that's our head office. And a little bit about our history. We've been UK government regulated for now 13 years. So we're recognised by Ofqual on behalf of the UK government. And also we're recognised in Wales by the regulatory body in Wales. Globally, we're also recognised by a number of other international regulators in the various countries that we work in. We originally founded on a portfolio of management-related vocational qualifications from foundation level 3 right up to master's level 7. And I know today's topic is focusing on one of our master's levels qualifications. So initially, when we were founded, we established a strong presence in the UK, and we were family owned and run up to 2016. So very much a UK focus. And in 2016, we were acquired by a larger educational group, the KnowledgeGate Group. So we've joined over 20 educational institutions, right across primary, secondary, and higher education, and that spans 3 continents. So we have sister organizations in Canada, in the Middle East, and across the globe in the UK as well. Our UK board directors have senior careers in further and higher education, both in the UK, and also our international board directors have international educational experience, both particularly in the Middle East, in India, and in Canada. And that's been a really strong injection for us in terms of our international presence and our international growth. I've been chief executive with ATHE since 2017, so just over 6 years. And my background is in the UK government sector originally, moving into management consultancy. And I've been about 20 years in vocational education, which is my specialism from an educational point of view. And we have a management team drawn from leading, awarding, and sector skills bodies. So, for example, Denise joined us coming from Pearson, one of the largest awarding organizations and educational bodies. And so we really have a great team in terms of the experience that we call on. So we've made good progress over the 13 years since we were regulated, increasing international profile, as I've said, 250 centers in over 50 countries, a growing number of national accreditations in many of the countries that we work in. And we have a very diverse portfolio of vocationally oriented and internationally recognized qualifications. So we've got about 140 regulated qualifications. And that's everything from business and management and accounting through to computing, health and social care. But we also have a wide portfolio of bespoke qualifications. So these are in specialist areas: teaching, religious studies, risk management, 2 or 3 of the areas and many more that we have developed specialist qualifications in. Particularly important for us and for learners is our approved progression routes. So we have many of our qualifications approved for progression to universities, both in the UK and internationally. And that is a critical aspect of the support that we provide our centres and our learners. So not just taking qualifications with ATHE and the achievements that that brings, but also the progression opportunities, both within careers, but also to higher education. So those increased higher education opportunities really important for us, but it also presents learners with significant time and cost savings because studying our vocational qualifications is a very competitive, price competitive option for learners. And we have sector partnerships providing routes to professional recognition. So not only academic qualifications, but also professional recognition. A good example is our accounting qualifications. And those progress on to professional recognition in the UK and internationally. So over our 13 years, around 50,000 learners have been certificated, achieving our qualifications and our endorsed programs. So we've got a really good, strong alumni base in terms of our qualifications. And in essence, if you boil it down, what does working with ATHE mean for our centres and our learners? Well, we are recognised and respected in the UK and internationally for the quality of what we do, the products and services, but also a very personal approach. We're a relatively small team, and that means we deal on first name basis with our centres and our learners. And we offer that diverse portfolio of qualifications, but also assessment methods. So we're very, very flexible in the way that students can study our qualifications. No set start times, no set end times, very flexible for part-time workers who particularly are working in full-time careers and are studying alongside that. So flexibility is one thing that really captures what we offer our centres and our learners. And we like to think that we're modern, we're dynamic, and that we deliver excellent results and added value. We are very proud of the achievement rates for our qualifications and the way that we always look to go beyond just the learning experience and add as much value into that as we can. And we're very well governed with robust standards. Over the 13 years of our regulation, we have been fully compliant with all of the UK and international regulators' requirements. And so on that basis, we're proud that the quality bar that we have, we hold high. Just a little bit about an overview of our qualifications, our core portfolio. So you can see in business and management, we have a wide range of business and management qualifications right through from level 3 foundation to level 7 in extended diploma in strategic management. You can see again, the same range from an accounting point of view from level 3 to level 7 and in computing. So you can start at a foundation level to get a foundation in information and digital technologies and really work right through level 4, level 5, sort of first and second year bachelor's degree equivalents, right through to level 7 as a master's degree equivalent. We also have law qualifications, very popular, particularly in some markets. I take the example of Pakistan. Very, very popular in Pakistan in particular in terms of our law qualifications. Health and social care, a very dynamic sector in the UK and internationally, very, very popular for international students who want to come in and work in the National Health Service within the UK. And so that is a very popular progression route. We have a lot of popularity around education and training, particularly in India and the Middle East. And coaching and mentoring is something that is a mainstay of what we offer, very, very popular for in-company coaching and mentoring in particular, but also in an educational context. I mentioned our bespoke portfolio. We've been very opportunistic in the way that we've developed our qualifications. So when specialist sectors have come to us, requiring a regulated qualification, we've been very flexible to accommodate their requirements and working with them, build bespoke qualifications. So you can see this is just a snapshot some of the bespoke qualifications that we've developed. So you've got everything IT infrastructure there, but you've got health and social care, sports and events management, right through to niche professions like jewelry, a whole range of religious studies that we've developed for various faiths. And so we are a very, very flexible organization when it comes to developing our qualifications. So to focus in on the subject of particular attention for the webinar, we're very, very pleased to have developed a range of pathways for our level 7 extended diploma in computing technologies. And the one that we're particularly focusing on today is artificial intelligence. So we have a set of core units that are mandatory for the study of the qualification. And that really, at an advanced level, 7, presents the learners with some sort of critical aspects of working within the IT field in terms of, the sort of topics that you would expect to have an advanced grounding in terms of working in the technology space, but also the opportunity to carry out an independent project, which is important from a research point of view. And then when you get into the artificial intelligence pathway, that's where it really opens up in terms of looking at the features, the functions of artificial intelligence, right from its sort of philosophical side in terms of its foundations, and looking at both the opportunities, but also the concerns that AI presents. And also taking a look at the future direction for AI, because as we all know, it's moving at pace. And in many ways, every sector is looking at the context for their own sector, but also having to, in some cases, run to keep up because of the pace that it's moving. So I know Rune's presentation will touch more on that. And aspects of course content, machine learning, artificial thinking, working like humans. I mean, these are all really interesting areas that the qualification explores. And again, research comes into it in terms of computer-based research methods and focusing on that as a particular pathway. So that's where we start to focus in on the specialist aspects of the subject. And that's an appropriate point for me to step back from my scene setter around ATHE and pass back to our moderator to introduce Rune's presentation. And I like to think, just as a final word, I don't know, but when I looked at the list of attendees, I saw an attendee whose name was Rune. So I'm not sure, but unless there's another Rune out there, we may have Rune actually on the line with us today. So that would be wonderful if that's possible. But he certainly recorded this talk for us in any event. So I'm going to step back now. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And hopefully that was a useful scene setter from ATHE.
Rune has raised his hand, so he must be on.
That looks very promising. Great. Hello, Rune.
Right. Thank you so much, Alex, for the wonderful session. I'm sure the participants here might be having a lot of more questions to be asked. So that is where we will be having the question and answer session, because most of the people who are registered for this webinar seem to have a lot of interest in taking a next step in their artificial intelligence education to pursue a well-known, recognized qualification. So where else it would be other than ATHE. So thank you, Alex, for the wonderful eye-opening session. So with that, we are moving to our next item on the agenda, which is going to be our technical presentation. Since most of you all had many questions regarding what sort of implications we can expect from AI and what areas you should be interested likewise. So we have a well-scripted, a pre-recorded session in line. The reason for us to have a pre-recorded session is we are definitely going to share this for others who could not participate for the session. And of course, this is going to be open for everyone. So we wanted to make sure that this is going to be a smooth session, but still we are so happy Rune is in the audience as well. So let's move on to that. But before going for the recorded session, let me introduce our keynote speaker, or I would say the presenter today. So Rune Rasmussen, I hope I pronounce your name correctly. If not, I'm so sorry for that. So he's a qualification development associate at ATHE UK, and he's also a data scientist financial crime law expert, author for all of data analytics, and of course, he's having 20 plus years of extensive experience in this specific field. So I'm sure he's going to be the ideal person to conduct this. So with that, I would like to give the control to our Zoom master. Jackson, over to you to go on with the recording.
Hello and greetings from the United Kingdom. My name is Rune Rasmussen. I'm a data scientist with multiple undergraduate and graduate qualifications in computer science, mathematics, statistics, and in banking law. I'm also the editor and co-author of a book on the role of data analysts. I've been spending more than 20 years applying advanced analytical algorithms and artificial intelligence to data to extract information from it and to make better business decisions. I'm currently consulting on the design and implementation of systems that combats financial crime in international trading. You are all skilled data scientists. Otherwise, you wouldn't be considering a postgraduate diploma in artificial intelligence. As such, you will no doubt be aware that this is an exciting time to be working in artificial intelligence. In your undergraduate studies, you have all learned skills to manipulate data and extract valuable information from it. But taking this course will take you a step further. It will equip you with the key skills needed to lead AI projects that makes a real difference. To lead, design, and implement successful projects, you will need to collaborate with other specialists and bring together their expertise. Sure, this course will be challenging and interesting, and those are great outcomes in themselves. It will also be an investment in yourself. AI can be a very financially rewarding area to work in. But the real value of taking this qualification is that it will enable you to make a positive difference in your community, to your customers, to your clients, to your patients, to the public. In this talk, I will first give you a few examples of successful AI projects. You will no doubt have read of many other examples yourself. I will also mention a few examples of problematic projects. Then I will talk about some of the specialists that are needed in AI projects. Bringing together these specialists is challenging, but it is also a highly rewarding part of working in AI. When this is combined with ethical principles, which I will briefly mention, it will enable you to lead AI projects that makes a real positive difference. As I mentioned, there are many examples of successful AI projects. Newspapers, magazines, and websites are full of stories of companies and government departments who have successfully developed and implemented artificial intelligence. You will no doubt have read of many of them, so I shall only mention a few. In the retail industry, companies such as Alibaba pride themselves on how they can use AI-powered recommender systems to personalize customers' experiences and predict what they want to buy. After spending many years developing and deploying this capability in their own operations, they are now selling their expertise and the extensive computing power needed to other companies. In the financial services sector, there are reports of how large international consultancies are exploring the power of artificial intelligence to combat financial fraud. One of those consultancies is KPMG that partnered with a payment provider to develop an AI model to reduce payment card fraud by up to 40%. And in the healthcare sector, the National Health Service of the UK have completed a proof of concept for a new tool that uses artificial intelligence to assess patient data. This tool could identify patients early and help prevent them having unnecessary long stays in hospital, which have negative results on their health, including higher risk of death. Not all the projects that you will be developing are going to become headline news or big news stories, but they can all bring strong benefits if we build them ethically. This isn't easy. It will be challenging. But if you combine the right skills and the right people with the right ethical values, then we will build systems that makes a difference. Systems that we can be proud of when speaking about our work to our family and our friends. The internet is not just full of praise for successful AI projects. There are also many examples of projects where artificial intelligence and advanced learning algorithms have not been successful. Some commentators warn how these technologies could lead to catastrophic consequences for humanity. These warnings should, in my opinion, be taken with some skepticism. They are worst case scenarios which often takes inspiration from the science fiction genre. Although we shouldn't be complacent about how AI is developed, it is, in my opinion, much more likely that it will bring a positive contribution to humanity. However, there are examples of where AI projects have resulted in unplanned and unsuitable outcomes. This includes an example of alleged racial bias in the software used by the UK government for verification of passport applications. Citizens who needed to renew their passport would upload a photo to the government's website. This photo would be checked to see if it complied with strict rules on how the face appeared. It should be uncovered, the mouth closed, without headwear, and so on. This would benefit applicants and enable them to have their photos instantly approved in seconds, rather than pay for an expert to verify it, or wait weeks or months for a response. But journalists found that the photos of people with darker skin was more than twice as likely to be rejected as lighter skinned applicants, even though the photos fully comply with the regulations. There's also a recent example where a delivery company deployed an AI chatbot for their online customer services. This would have provided the customers with answers to their questions quickly, even when human agents were busy. But even though the chatbot told customers that it was supposed to be polite and professional, it was quickly persuaded to use strong swear words, and it referred to its own company as the worst delivery company in the world. There was also a football club which used an AI-enabled camera that was trained to follow the ball in a live football match. Due to COVID restrictions, the fan had to watch the match from home, and the club was presumably trying to save on the cost for a trained camera operator. But the fans complained that they kept missing the goals as the camera continuously focused and followed the movements of one of the referees instead. The reason it did so was because it mistook the referee's bald head for the ball. We might laugh a bit at the last one, but these examples show some of the real challenges for implementation of AI systems. It is important that we understand the limitations and characteristics of the algorithms, and that we implement them in an ethical way. As data scientists, we will not be able to do this on our own. To deliver the benefits and make a difference for our communities, we will need to work with other specialists. Bringing all these specialists together can be difficult, but as AI leaders we need them to ensure we can make the right difference. The potential of artificial intelligence is highly dependent on the data that is used to train the algorithms. AI algorithms require large volumes of good data to train them. The quality and coverage of this data is key to successful implementations. When this data is not as good or as broad as needed, it can quickly lead to errors. Data management experts are those that are responsible for this data. It needs to be stored, processed and retrieved by specialists. These specialists are doing the difficult job of ensuring that the data is of good quality, that it is protected and secured, and that we have tools and processes available to assess it when needed by our algorithms. The strong benefits that AI systems will provide depend just as much on the data management experts, and we need their collaboration. It is sometimes claimed that AI brings a new form of analytics and is separate from traditional types of information analysis, such as business intelligence systems and processes. This is, in my view, misguided. Business intelligence, or sometimes called management information, is an established way of processing and presenting key information to senior decision makers. Business intelligence experts will therefore often have good knowledge about the organization and its data. It is true that business intelligence is often concerned with what the organization has done, whereas AI is more trying to predict the future or change the way it works. But to implement successful AI systems, we will need to know the current situation to know what we are changing. This knowledge comes from working with business intelligence experts, and we will therefore need their collaboration too. Our AI model is built by mathematical and statistical specialists. These specialists could be in the same organization as us, or they could be outside our organization. Sometimes models are purpose-built for the system we are developing, and sometimes they're off-the-shelf components that will need to be integrated into our own system. Each project is different, but artificial intelligence is built by those experts that knows how the mathematics works. This is a complex area, and we need mathematicians to select and build the correct algorithms. And we need them to understand the strength and the weaknesses of the algorithms, because all systems have strengths that need to be harnessed and weaknesses that need to be managed. It is important that we collaborate with these mathematical specialists so our systems have strong and efficient algorithms. Many AI systems use sensitive data or will make sensitive decisions. AI systems will need to be implemented in accordance with the law and regulations. We will therefore need to work with legal specialists to ensure we use our data in the right way. There are many different legal requirements for the use of data. These include data protection regulations, restrictions on the use of health data, and how data can be used in the financial sector. AI systems and their use of data is an emerging area, so these regulations are still being written and changed by lawmakers. We need legal specialists to help us ensure that our algorithms are compliant with the regulations. It can sometimes feel as if the regulations prevent our AI algorithms in delivering their revolutionary promises. But good regulations support positive change. The strong positive benefits of AI will only be realized when they are truly helping our local communities. This help will only be achieved by ensuring our systems are developed lawfully and ethically with the collaboration of legal specialists. No matter how advanced our algorithms are and how well they're built, they will need to be implemented in our organizations. Because of the many case studies that are being reported every month and every week in international business press and websites, most senior managers, such as C-level executives, are well aware of the real change that AI can bring. So they are often very interested in hearing about potential AI projects. But they will still need to be convinced that our proposed systems will bring positive benefits. We will therefore need to speak the language of senior decision makers and make sure we get their support. The support of senior managers is also crucial to ensure the new systems will be accepted by the organization. AI systems often bring change to how people work and sometimes people can be unsure or uncomfortable with that change. They might like the way things currently are. We need to ensure that we collaborate with specialists that know organizational processes and knows how to change the procedures and policies in the organization. Specialists such as project managers and change management specialists. Bringing real positive change is much easier when we have the support of senior managers and when we collaborate with the change specialists. These are just some of the key specialists that are needed to successfully implement AI projects. There are many others that I could mention. Identifying the relevant experts and then collaborating with them is what makes AI projects challenging. There are always a number of different specialists and needs to collaborate. But by bringing together the expertise of these specialists, we can bring the real change of AI. But we also have a responsibility to ensure that change brings positive benefits to our communities. This can only be achieved if we design and build our solution with strong ethical principles. I talked before about working with lawyers to ensure our systems comply with the law and the regulations. But our responsibility as AI leaders is bigger than that. We must also make sure that our AI algorithms are implemented in an ethical way. This talk does not allow me time for full exploration of ethical guidelines for AI development, so I will only mention a few considerations. When building our solutions, we must ensure that we consider how different groups are affected by the algorithms. Our systems might have strong benefits for some groups, while having very little benefits or even negative consequences for other groups. Previously, I mentioned a system that was used in UK passport applications, where the photos of lighter-skinned people were quickly approved. This group of people could be very happy about the improved service, but the approval of photos of darker-skinned people were not successful, so the algorithm wasn't fair. Both while you are studying AI algorithm and when you will be implementing them, it is important to consider their impact on different groups and on the wider public that might be impacted. Maybe the algorithm is good for young people, but not old people. Good for men, but not women. Good for wealthy customers, but does not serve the need of disadvantaged customers. If we build our system this way, then we will not bring positive change to our communities. They will just create more inequality. The benefits of the AI systems we bring will only be seen positively if the algorithms are considered fair and ethical. It is also important that we can explain the decisions that our systems make. AI models should not become black boxes that make mathematical decisions that nobody understands. We must remember that the algorithms that we implement will affect people and their lives. I mentioned a case study in the National Health Service in the United Kingdom that could help identify patients that might have long stays in hospital. It is important in such systems that doctors, nurses and other hospital staff trust the recommendations the system makes. Otherwise, they're not going to be likely to act on its recommendations. And they need to understand how the decisions are made to trust them. This requires that they are explained in a way that they know. If we do not explain our AI algorithms to people that is going to use them, then they might not be used, and therefore not bring their benefits. I would like to conclude by summarizing. Leading the development and implementation of successful artificial intelligence projects is not easy. Your AI projects will only be successful if you bring together the expertise of specialists and you apply strong ethical leadership. This is challenging, but also highly rewarding. This qualification will equip you with tools, technique and knowledge to take on that responsibility. You might have many reasons to be interested in AI development. Every type of company is looking for ways to implement AI to improve their operations, which makes finding a job easier. And let's admit it, The pay isn't bad either. But the biggest reward is often to see systems being implemented that brings a real and strong benefit to your community. Systems that are ethical and positively benefit your community. Systems that you can tell your family and friends about and be really proud of, because they make a difference. Those are the projects, the systems, the solutions that this qualification will enable you to develop and build to become leaders of. So thank you for listening today. And now go on, invest in a challenge, sign up to make a real difference.
Thank you so much. Since Rune is in the audience, let me thank you for the very insightful session. I really enjoyed it, and I'm sure the other participants in the audience also would agree. I mean, from passport application management to football, it was really insightful and it was really interesting. And I got personal knowledge to myself. And what I understood in my perception is that if we can, AI is basically conquering each and every field. So that means more opportunities. That means more opportunities for people. So this is definitely that we should take up on, and something that we should definitely, pursue in a more educational background. So I think the most of the participants would have understood that from this session. And I really love the fact that you brought AI is, it's really important, but we have to be ethical. And that component has to be there. And I think that's where the educational background comes up. Because as educational or the academic people, we have the utmost responsibility to, bring that component to any field of study, I would say. So AI is definitely, we have these contradictory ideas when it comes to artificial intelligence, whether it's going to be really supporting to human or not. It's for us to take the decision, because since it is definitely something which is helpful, we need to take the positive side. That's my understanding. And I really enjoyed the session, Rune, and I'm so grateful for you that. So with that, we are moving to the next segment of the agenda, which is the most interesting part, I would say, for the participants. We are going to address your questions, and we have got few questions from the registration itself as well. Those were basically more technical questions, but I think to handle the question and a session, I would like to take the support from our head of marketing, Mr. Jackson, as well. Jackson, would you be able to join so that we can continue?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Ashadra. I would like to explain the nature of how the question and answer session is going to be. So, since the main content of the video, the webinar was in the form of a video, and we weren't expecting Mr. Rune to be here live. But anyway, luckily, we're so lucky that Mr. Rune has joined. So we had already, during the registration phase itself, we had requested our attendees, if they had any questions, they can submit it. And if they are technical questions, we wanted to be certain with the answers, and we wanted to take our time and get back with the most appropriate answers. So the technical questions will be answered and will be shared with you on a probably within this week. And anything that has to do with the qualification or the nature of the awarding body, you can ask them now. And out of all the questions that we had received already, I think there's one question that I can answer now itself. So one gentleman had raised the question of they wanted to know the investment of how the program is going to cost. So at Kensley Graduate School, we deliver the program in 8 months duration, and we priced it at 450,000 rupees in rupee value. So as a special incentive for the webinar attendees, we are giving out a discount of rupees 100,000. So whichever attendee who had attended this webinar, if they contact us after this webinar, then the luck is with you today, because you're getting 100,000 rupee discount, and the final price would be 350,000 rupees. And yes, you can use the chat box as well in order to leave out if there are any questions, or if you have any questions regarding the awarding body or the qualification or the delivery per se, you can shoot it at us, or you can, if you're if you're a shy person just like me, then you can leave it in the chat box. Thank you. And since Mr. Rune is here, I'd like to ask, like, would you like to spare a few words?
Yeah, I'm happy to say a bit. I mean, I think it's a really exciting qualification that Alex and his team has developed, and I like the the mix of specialisms, as well as I said in my talk, that it will bring together, and the focus as well on what I think is a really important area, the ethics. That will be brought into it as well, and I think that's important to as I said, to make sure that what we build makes a difference, and then it's not just perpetuating what is already there, or what is already being being imposed on people, that there's actually something that can make a benefit.
Yeah, I'd like to build on Rune's point. I mean, one of the things that I felt came through really strongly, as well as the ethical side, is from an organizational point of view, the collaborative nature of implementing AI. I'm not a technical specialist. I'm more of a generalist from a management point of view. But what I do understand very strongly is that all of the technical specialism won't be effectively applied without appropriate collaboration right across the team. And that's senior management, that's project management, that's operations management. And that's really where the rubber hits the road, to use that phrase. And so all of the algorithms, all of the data specialisms, all of that won't be applied appropriately unless you take your teams with you in terms of that collaborative approach. And that comes through really strongly. And for me is very relevant in terms of my more general management role. And so I think that was a very strong message that came through from Rune's presentation.
And I would also say that broad skilled and specialists approach means that there is in AI, which I find an exciting part of AI, is a lifelong learning path, because there will always be areas that needs to be brought in. There will always be particular pain points in a project that needs to be understood, that needs to be built in, and that's where both experience but also learning and qualifications comes in, that will be able to expand, and the the qualification that Alex and his team does with being able to learn on the job, being able to learn part-time. I'm a strong supporter of as well.
So I see we've got a question in the chat for Dr. Rune. How important is the knowledge of maths in this course, and can anyone with basic knowledge in ICT follow this course? I don't want to put you on the spot, Rune, but
I've not been involved in drafting together the individual units of this course here, so I think it's probably more for you and Denise to answer these. I mean, I didn't see any specialist maths units.
Yeah, I mean, I think from our point of view, our expectations with all of our qualifications is that in the qualification specification, there are a set of entry requirements. And so those entry requirements really give a sense of the sort of level of expertise that we would expect a student to have to be able to undertake this qualification. So I think quite happy to take this and spread it out to our wider team of computing specialists who were involved with developing this specific qualification. And I think my take on it would be that we would probably look for more than a basic knowledge of ICT, because there are some strong technical aspects to what is a master's level computing qualification. And so my initial view would be that it would require more than a basic knowledge of ICT to follow the course. Having said that, there may be an interest for somebody with without that, perhaps that advanced level of ICT knowledge, to actually just focus on the unit within the qualification that involves artificial intelligence. One thing that might be a consideration is for students to focus just on a particular unit if they have that particular interest in AI. Now, that's obviously a discussion with Kensley Graduate School, because that's not the full qualification delivery. That's just one unit. So that's a partial answer on behalf of ATHE, but I'm very happy to take that question and come back with a fuller answer next week as part of the Q&A.
Thank you, Alex, for that clarification. Yes, just to remind you, so for all the questions that we got from the registrations process itself, we are going to have a well-structured answers for you all to further refer, and we'll be definitely sharing you all those information. And Alex can give the full answer to the brought up question as well in the same process that we are going to follow.
One thing I'd add is for anyone who is interested in diving into some of the detail around the qualification or the entry requirements, as I mentioned, if you go onto the ATHE website, athe.co.uk, and you click on qualifications, in our core qualifications, you'll be able to find this qualification and its full specification. So anyone that's interested in the detail, it's a very detailed specification, give you all the information around the different components of the qualification, what the expected content will be. And so if you search on athe.co.uk, you'll find the full details of the qualification, and that's publicly available.
As part of obviously the follow-up Q&A, we could share that specification with the attendees so they can.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Sure. And also Kensley Graduate School, we are also ready to support you in all the questions that are coming up. So we will be definitely helping out to clarify all the doubts that you have. So we'll be reminding you how you can contact us at the end of this session. Jackson, anything from your side? Or if you have any further questions, this is the high time for you to ask. We have a very experienced panel here, so please grab the opportunity to clarify your questions.
Hi, I think you can hear me, right?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, okay. Dr. Rune, thank you for your session. That was so much insightful. I have a question like, how does the cybersecurity will impact with the AI in future? I need a general what would be the next step for the cybersecurity with artificial intelligence.
I think cybersecurity will play a very strong role, and it's absolutely one of those specialists that will need to be brought in. I mean, I think regulators and lawmakers around the world are very, very keen on making sure the data is secure, and therefore will put in strict rules on how that data is protected, both how it's protected within the organization itself, but also how it's protected in transit. I mean, we're moving into a world where all our data is, or most of our data is on the cloud somewhere. Or if it's not in the cloud, there is different offices in different locations, sometimes even on different continents, or often on different continents around the world, and that data will need to be secure there as well. And cybersecurity will absolutely play a role there. It will play as well a role in ensuring that the valuable service and information that comes out of our AI applications are not susceptible to bad actors that could come in and start hacking it. There's lots of examples of great applications that has then just been hacked, where the data has been stolen, the functionality has been stolen, or compromised in some way. So I absolutely think that cybersecurity will play a big role in protecting the data. I'm also aware that cybersecurity is one of those areas that is very, very often mentioned as a strong candidate for cybersecurity. There's a lot of people that's working on detection. I mean, we're all using spam filters, and the implication of AI in various forms of well, email spam filters, but also kind of internet attacks that uses messages, being able to spot suspicious flows of information, suspicious requests coming into servers, maybe spotting these things at the probing stage of a cyber attack, instead of having to be hit by the attack when it comes. That's definitely an area as well where it's already happening today, and it will continue to be more sophisticated. So to summarize, both in protecting the data, protecting the functionality, in location as an in situ and in transit, but also cybersecurity being a candidate for employing some of these algorithms.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Himash, for the wonderful question. It's nice to see the audience is interested and very energetic. So we have another question in the chat box. Jackson, would you want to shoot it out?
Nuwan Saranga has asked, can you explain what kind of AI technologies using in office environment, both private and government?
I mean, I work in the private sector, so I can probably speak. I'm working, as I said in my introduction, in the financial services sector. In there's a lot of interest in it. There's a lot of interest in using AI, both for retail finance, various types of loan applications and insurance applications, and improving that kind of stuff. I mean, in the previous answer, I mentioned as well spam filters. I mean, I think that's one that we all use every day. We want these spam filters to be able to take out all this emails that we are getting that's irrelevant to us. I can absolutely see as well starting to be used to process more documents. I mean, there's already a lot of work involved in analyzing emails, analyzing whether or not emails and social media posts are positive, as in they are praising the company, or whether they are negative. It's referred to as neo-linguistic programming or sentiment analysis, and that I can see becoming more and more sophisticated with some of the large language models that's being put in there, that it can be more used to that. I also know that technology, again, in financial services, is being investigated to start looking at nefarious messages that might be talking about different types of fraud and different types of crime, where people are trying to in some way hide or disguise their message. So models kind of trying to tease out whether or not there are code used in some way in a message. Government, I mean, my knowledge comes from kind of general reports. I know that there's lots of governments starting to use AI. There has been reports of again, probably unsuccessful reports of governments, I think also in the United Kingdom, using it to try to spot people that would might not be deserving a certain grant or shouldn't receive a certain substitute from the government, and some of those algorithms again has built quite ethically, or not as to whether they should. They haven't been tested as well. They should. So they have come out in the press for the wrong reasons, because they because they were making wrong decisions. So I mean, good examples and bad examples. I think we're going to see more of them, and I think we need more skills to implement them, work them, test them, and so on.
Yeah.
Protect them again with cybersecurity.
And I think Rune makes a very good point from a management perspective. Because the pace of AI is moving so quickly, testing is still very, very important. Sometimes when things are moving, technology is moving so fast, testing can be squeezed, and actually things can be put out there that hadn't been fully tested and can have some downside consequences. So I think the testing, the user acceptance testing, all of that mustn't be squeezed out of what is a very fast moving area. I think from a general organizational point of view, and some of you may be very familiar with this, in the office environment, I found a change in some of the email communications that I've received from colleagues. Their tone of voice has changed quite dramatically, and their use of vocabulary has changed quite dramatically in some of the emails I'm receiving from them. Yeah, I think that's quite a general observation from many organizations that are finding that. If I can give an educational perspective, since that's very much a context that we're talking about, from a UK government point of view, the regulators are very, very focused on the impact of AI in education. Because not surprisingly, the access to generative AI, to ChatGPT, and similar solutions is providing both opportunities, but also some significant risks. And we find that in terms of making sure that the authenticity of learners' work when they're presenting it for a particular qualification, and for me, and government recognize this, it's not about resisting AI. It's not about putting AI at arm's length. It's about using it appropriately and ethically. And so when you're using AI as a source, or ChatGPT or otherwise as a source, then like any other source, reference the source appropriately and don't rely on it as your only single source. And we've seen instances, not a surprise at all, we've seen some instances where the quality of an assignment that is produced by a learner is far, far beyond the level of the qualification that is being studied. And one of our moderators will come back and say, well, either a professor wrote this or this is not the student's own work. And so it does have a far-reaching impact into every sector, and education is also the same.
Yes, thank you so much, Alex. Yes. Right, we have another question also. 2 questions. Yes. Himash is asking, can you suggest some good books to refer on the applications of AI and cybersecurity? Rune, can you recommend few books?
Yeah.
I think yeah.
I haven't worked much. I don't have any books that I have had with AI and cybersecurity combination specifically. But maybe I can take that away and feed that back into the follow-up email that comes out.
Yeah, and within the specifications that we share, there is links to reading material and resources that the learner can use as well. So those links to reading material will be in the specifications that we share following this presentation.
So I would also like to remind all the participants. If you had joined late, do not worry, because we will be sharing the recorded version of this webinar, much clear and concise one, with you later, probably within this week. And also, as Denise just mentioned, all the questions that you addressed and that you've shared with us over the registration form, those questions will be addressed as well. And whichever information that Mr. Rune mentioned over his speech, and all the references, all the material that he referred to have been compiled as a document, and that document will also be shared with you post this webinar.
I see Thalani has shared a question about how significant AI is used in assessments in school education, especially in relation to test item generation. So that's possibly one for our colleagues at Kensley from the educational perspective. We can comment from the assessment side in terms of our external role as a moderator and as a qualification setter. We can see how we use AI in, for example, picking up where AI has been used or a likelihood of AI has been used. So there is software such as ChatGPT-0, which will pick up the likelihood of AI being used in an assignment, for example. So we can see it from that perspective, and we require our centers who are delivering our qualifications to apply the appropriate software so that it picks up the use of AI or the use of plagiarism in terms of that. So that's always a standard requirement from the external assessment point of view. But in terms of externally, from a sort of school education point of view in relation to test item generation, I mean, do colleagues from Kensley have a view on that from your educational perspective?
Right. Jackson, will you be able to answer? Right. So, of course, we have the same concerns, Alex, as well, when it comes to assessments, definitely. And we are actually in the process of implementing, proper assessment checking procedure. Because AI has definitely become a challenge to educational institutes, definitely. So we'll be having concerns on that aspect as well. We are in the process of implementing it, and that's where we are going to, because since AI is something that we recently introduced, and in the process of development, those things will be definitely incorporated.
Mm. And I think just to add to that, one of the things that our regulator, Ofqual, the UK government's regulator, has stipulated is that centres who are delivering regulated qualifications shouldn't rely entirely on AI for assessment. Sometimes when the economy is tight and costs are tight, there's a temptation to reduce the number of physical assessors within an educational establishment and rely more heavily on AI in terms of AI scanning of students' work and AI assessment. But there is certainly a regulatory requirement in the UK for regulated qualifications that there shouldn't be a sole reliance on AI, i.e. what you're saying is that for a learner's piece of work, there should be a human looking at it at some point in the process and not just entirely software. And so I think that's one of the risks to mitigate. And that's where, as Rune has said, there are controls being put in place, quite rightly, by government to say there are boundaries. Otherwise, probably rather like the early days of the internet, if you're not careful, you create the Wild West. And without boundaries and without rules and regulations and ethics, it can proliferate into a way that is almost uncontrollable. And so I think that's quite right to have those boundaries when it comes to assessment within educational establishments. And I see that Anjana has asked about your book, Rune.
Yeah, I'm just posting a link to it now. So bear me a second.
I'm not sure if we can guarantee signed copies, but that might be an option. But there we go.
There we go.
Great.
Thank you.
Any more questions at this stage? Possibly not.
Right. Yes. So Jackson, shall we then in that case remind them the process that they can contact Kensley Graduate School for further details and how they can get on board?
Yes, thank you. So first and foremost, thank you, Alex. Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Rune. And I'd like to thank Jay as well. ATHE has shown a great support in terms of organizing this webinar, and I can personally say that I saw the effort that was put in, so highly appreciate it on behalf of Kensley Graduate School. And thank you for all the thanks to all the participants as well for attending this webinar. And yes, if you are interested in enrolling for a postgraduate diploma, the level 7 postgraduate diploma in computing technologies, the AI pathway, you can surely contact us. We have an intake coming up in May. So as I mentioned earlier, if you join later or if you didn't get it right last time, so the webinar attendees get a special discount of 100,000 rupees. So that makes your course fee 350,000 rupees only. So how you, if you wish to contact us or get in touch with us, you should be seeing the name of the college. Just type kensley.lk. Just simple as that. And you will see all the details that you would want to know about us. And also, post this webinar, we'll anyway be reaching out to you with the recorded version of it. So with that, you can, we will have all the information, the program information, and how you can reach out to us. All of that will be mentioned there. So you can reach out to us, and we'd be more than happy to help you out in terms of getting through the qualification. And the website link has also been dropped in the chat. So if you wish, you can click away and learn more about us and learn more about the ATHE qualification. So yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you very much on behalf of ATHE, and thank you, Rune, for your guest appearance. That was absolutely excellent. And yeah, we look forward to working closely with Kensley. They have become very quickly a close recognized center for us in terms of our colleagues in Sri Lanka. And so we look forward to working closely together in the coming months, as hopefully we'll have students joining this program and going on to be successful in the AI field. So thank you again from the UK.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you
Okay,
so much.
bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. See you.
Bye-bye.